What is up, fully charged GCG? Today we're going to be looking at Blue Doflamingo, and I am extremely excited. A couple things before we get started. I will have the deck profile linked down below inside the description, so you can go down there, copy paste it, and give it a try for itself. This deck is tremendously powerful. Also, if you've been following for a little bit, I apologize for the brief hiatus. I was at Bandai Card Fest, then I got sick, and then I was redoing this office because one thing I think is missing inside of the TCG YouTuber community is one, positive people be negative, negative about these card games. And two is higher quality, and I do videography and filmmaking and all that stuff, so I thought I can really upgrade my office setup and make it look nice. So let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. Without further ado, Blue Doflamingo, let's go. Do this game with Nico Robin. So I didn't go out of my way to find like 8.5 decks. I just played against whatever was popping up. This Doflamingo list is actually the Doflamingo list that went like 10-2 and got first place, I believe, at Bandai Card Fest over in the East. I don't remember which Bandai Card Fest, but it did get first place. I go ahead and start off with a buggy. I've been playing this deck at this point just for a couple of days, and it is very powerful. They do nothing on their turn one. I go ahead and attach lead, swing, use leader effect to play the Jimbei. Nuts. Off of the Jimbei, I choose to go ahead and play, I believe it's going to be the Boa. This way I can go ahead and double check my top three, replace them how I want them, and then I can also attach another one to my leader and actually make him an 8k attack. The fact that I, for 3 energy, played down 2 4-drops and swung for 8k is absolutely nuts. And I'm here for it because honestly, I think it's about time that Blue have a really, really good leader. So I'm excited for Blue Dofi and Purple Luffy, but that's a whole different story. He goes ahead and he's considering swinging 5. Dumb, because I'm just going to free block with Boa. I'm not sure if he realized that, didn't maybe realize that Boa can free block, or maybe he just wanted the ramp, but I'll take the free block. I guess he played down the Kiku Nojo, so obviously he just wanted he wanted to go ahead and get the free ramp, so I guess that makes sense. I go ahead and swing 7 because at this point, I just want to be as aggressive as possible. That's what Dofi wants to do. And I also have another Boa in my hand, so I can always drop another Boa if I want. Or I can go ahead and put in and just absolutely take him from 7 cards, I believe it was, all the way down to 5. So I took a life and then removed the card he got from life. That is so strong. Pudding is an absolutely broken card, and sometimes I question whether or not it should be in the game. However, Blue hasn't been that dominant to have to question really any of its cards besides Nami. I hate Nami. Then I go ahead and swing for 5 with Jimbei, and he surprisingly takes and goes down to 1 life. Now you might be thinking, oh yeah, this game's just straight up over, but it's not the case. This one's a pretty interesting one. So he's trying to decide what to do, and he starts off with a he takes it back. He's like, I was gonna swing, okay, I will. Now I thought that this was a little bit like, okay, I can just give you a 1k. I can always recover that with Moria, so I wasn't worried about giving up 1k combo power. And I'm like, okay, let's see, what are we gonna do here? Like, what's his options in all reality? He goes for another 6k swing, and I'm thinking, this just isn't enough. I can go ahead and combo out of this, and I'm going to, because I just want to keep the aggressive pressure. And then he's debating, like, okay, what do I do here? I think it just has backs against the rope. He does have a way bigger hand size, so he drops down 2 of the giant blockers. I had to check and see what it does. It's just a blocker 3 for 5 with a trigger, so it's pretty solid. And he dropped 2 of them, so I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. But I get to be really, really stupid aggressive, so I'm just like mathing out my draws. I think that's the most complicated part, is mathing out your draws plus your leader ability, but it's not as hard as what I think some people make it out to be. I go ahead and play down the Jimbei, replacing the Buggy, and then I'm like, okay, I could play down the Moria and get a 2k back, or I could just go ahead and drop a second blocker. And I'm going to drop the blocker. I get to replace my life. I'm kind of looking going, I don't really need that pudding. I'll leave it at the bottom, and then I'll attach to my leader and make him an 8K. An 8K swing again, which is just nuts. He goes ahead and blocks because he realizes he only has 4 cards in his hand, and that he will lose this game if he doesn't block. So now he's just kind of debating what to do here. I mean, I was so aggressive that I put him in a really weird spot. However, I have 1 card in my hand. And with only having 1 card in my hand, he can basically clear the majority of my board. However, I still have 2 blockers that are 6Ks that are standing up. Which means that, 1, if he tries to just go for a cheap 5K poke, I can block it for free. And 2, that means that no matter what, next turn, if I don't lose those blockers, I have 3 attacks, and he has 0 lives. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm in a pretty good spot. He's going to swing 8 in the 6, smart. I'm going to have to let it go. I'm kind of thinking, okay, what's he going to do here? Does he attack with his blocker? Does he not attack with his blocker? Honestly, I just realized that it just didn't matter. I was at 5 life still. He has not dealt a single damage. And I'm just in a really good position to win this game. And so he just plays down a card that gives him a buff. That must be a new card because I'm kind of unaware of what it actually is. Then he swings 5 into my Jinbei. Totally fine. You can have it. You have 4 cards in hand, 1 blocker, and right now I have 4 attacks. And this is a flawless victory. I'm just going to hit him with, fatality numbers. I took no life this game and absolutely demolished this Nico Robin player. Now, is this like the best player in the world? I don't know. Is he playing the most optimized Nico Robin deck in the world? I don't know. But the fact that he didn't take a single life and just kind of got steamrolled shows the power of Dofi. I think anytime that you hit Jinbei off of your leader effect, your chances of winning the game just goes tremendously up. And I got to play 2 Jinbeis, I believe it was this game, off of my effect. And then here we go again, jumping into a Blackbeard. I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting because he can remove my on plays, right? So I'm like, oh, so if I drop Jinbei won't do nothing. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I start off with a Perona, just start placing my life. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he doesn't use effect right away. Maybe it does, but let me go ahead and get my top of my life stacked. I have 2 2Ks in my hand, another Perona, and a Gravity Blade. So I'm like, okay, cool. Gravity Blade's going to help me out some of the annoying Blackbeard cards once we get a little bit later into the game that he could potentially drop. And he goes ahead and starts off with his, I forget that dude's name, but the guy who looks like Michael Jackson, or reminds me of Michael Jackson at least. I go ahead and do a poke for 2, and he lets it go. Kind of have to at that point, because I can always leader swing. The thing is it doesn't shut off my leader ability, so I can still play my leader ability. It just shuts off the Weevil letting me draw. So I still got to swing for 7 and play a 4 cost on a 3 Dawn turn. That is very, very powerful, guys. This deck is going to be menacing. And I have a regional coming up November 2nd. It's an online regional or online treasure cup. And if I get my hands on the Dofi starter decks, I will be playing Blue Dofi at that online event. So that's a goal. He goes ahead and plays down stage. He's going to start getting extra, draw and search capabilities, which is really smart. I'm just kind of thinking, okay, what's this guy got in store for me? He's going to swing 5 into the Perona. I thought that was odd. I was kind of expected him to maybe do something a little bit more, but okay, that makes sense. I think I would have rather swung at leader with that 5K, because he plays down 2 of these guys, and then he doesn't use, their ability, obviously. And it's just why'd you clear that Perona versus putting pressure on my life? That felt like a bad play. So I'm assuming at this point in the game, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this guy probably hasn't played a lot of Blackbeard. I already knew that I had a Dofi up there from my previous search, and I was just like, okay, I'll just play out the free Dofi body, swing for big numbers because he has nothing on board. And he goes down to 2. At this point in the game, the thing about Blackbeard is you have to be incredibly mindful of your hand. You do have a lot of draw-esque features and you got a lot of card cycle, but you are going -1 every turn off of your Blackbeard effect. And I think you really have to decide which turns are worth it sometimes. Because, yeah, I mean, he has done a good job at building back up his hand, but he only has 2 life, and he has done no damage to me. So he swings 5 into 4. I'm sitting here going, I can easily give up a 2K and get out of this, and that's what I'm going to do because why wouldn't I? If he doesn't drop a blocker, I can drain his hand of resources next turn, or if he's like bricked up, then I can pressure lethal. And that to me was just nuts. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna save this Dofi. He go ahead and activates both abilities, drawing 2 cards. He grabs a Burgess and he grabs, actually I believe it is 2 Burgesses off of that, which is pretty cool. Then he hits me with the event card and KOs the Weevil. And I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Let me see what I want to do here. I'm kind of debating on what the best plan of attack is. Obviously, I want a leader effect, so I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and start with that. Play out the Moria and let the Moria get me back. I believe I didn't get the on play effect. My bad. I forgot that on plays, they don't go off pretty strong. But then I go ahead and just dawn up and swing 8 because I'm just like, let me put him on 0. I have 5 lives. He's played no important bodies. What he does here, he just draws a bunch of cards, and then after he draws a bunch of cards, he just passes and closes out the game. So I think he just realized that he was losing here, that there was nothing he could really do to win. And Dofi's just really strong. I don't know if these were the best players, but Dofi is a really strong deck. Very aggressive. I'm very excited for it. I'll see you guys in the next video here. I'll let it play out. I won both games with having 5 lives, but yeah, just passes.